Today I have a American Standard 2013 Fender Stratocaster, and I want to go over the technical details of this guitar with you guys. It was newly redesigned from 2012 and newer, with some new features on the guitar over the older USA standards, and I want to go over that with you. The first thing you want to know about this guitar is that the old Alnico 5 pickups are gone. Starting with 2012 and newer, this guitar, the American Standard Stratocaster, comes with 3 custom shop Fat 50s in there, which are a brighter, more bell-like sounding pickup that gives you a lot of output on the high end, and they're clearer in general. And now there's also these newly redesigned vintage style saddles, which I like better because the old ones were flat on top, and that would make it not only a little bit harder to stabilize your tuning, but when you're playing kind of like this, it'd be hard because you'd have nowhere to put your arm. Over here you've got some space, if you can see, so you could get in there if you have a picking style and you keep your wrist pretty close down near the whammy, or even if you're like me sometimes and you have your tremolo block floating up a little bit, you might just whammy by pushing down the block, which is what a lot of us do. There's also a copper infused bridge block. It's not 100% copper, but the block, which is the big thick metal part of the bridge, is copper infused. The coating on the guitar is thinner than the older ones. It's still the same kind of a finish that's on it, but they're definitely thinner. It's so the guitar resonates a little bit more. There's a tinted neck. It's a little bit tinted on the back. A maple neck with a rosewood reinforcement stripe in there, and that's good because maple necks are not too stable when they don't have some type of reinforcement from a darker, stronger wood, because if you have maple shells, you see how they bend under pressure, and that's not good. The front has a little bit of a different finish than the back of the neck, so that's something you take into consideration. It's a little bit more vintage looking here, where it's more satin on the back of the neck, and there's aged plastic parts all over the guitar. It comes on the new American Standard. As you can see, they have the yellowish look to them, which I really like. I prefer the natural process, but hey, I can take what I could get these days. The pickups are really cool. This one has, of course, a rosewood fretboard. It's alder body. This is the 3-tone sunburst. If you get the sienna sunburst, which is the more red sunburst, then you get a complete ash body. Basically, the neck is maple. The finish on the neck is just a satin urethane finish. The headstock has, like I said, like a buffed kind of finish. It's just a standard modern C neck, 9.5 inch radius, and 22 medium jumbo frets. There's, of course, the inlays that you have, and it's a 25.5 inch scale that you have here. The bone nut is made out of synthetic bone, so it's not one of those cheapo plasters. It's not real bone, but it's synthetic, and that should be good enough. There's a biflex truss rod, which is good. You can adjust it from the bottom down here if you take off the neck, or from on top. And the newer standard Stratocasters also have the micro tilt adjustment, which lets you make micro adjustment, moving the neck back and forth in order to adjust your action, so that you don't have to actually tighten your truss rod or loosen it in order to get the neck to move, for you to get just a little tiny bit of action down if you want. There's a 5-way switch, of course. What's really cool is the tone knob. So when you're playing in either the 2nd or 4th position, you have these 2 tone knobs down here, oops, that are activated. This one is going to be the bridge. So when you're playing with the bridge pickup enabled, this is the one you get, and when you take this bottom knob and you turn it to 10, you feel it it's a little tight, and the reason for that is when you have this on 10, it bypasses the switch, the tone knob completely, and you just get the full output of the pickup as if it was wired straight into the switch, which is really cool. There's some other features that I want you to know about. I'm looking right into the cameras. You guys can see there's of course the chrome hardware, the staggered tuning pegs, which basically means that you'll see these are higher. I don't know if you can see it in there. Yeah, there you go. And then it goes down. They're staggered, and they're pretty precise, these tuning pegs. There's, of course, now let me talk about the bridge. So it's a 2-point floating tremolo. The Fender's had that for a long time now on the American standards. It puts less pressure on the bridge than actually drilling down the 6 screws to hold this in, and it also helps stabilize the tuning on your Strat. That being said, this bridge is pretty cool with the tremolo. I haven't used it with the tremolo, but you could use it like that. I have 3 springs in the back that hold the block down into the wood, and overall it's a very cool guitar, and it sounds awesome. I'm gonna make another video hopefully tonight if neighbors don't kill me, and show you how it sounds plugged in through one of my amps. Maybe I'll use the Blues Junior, or maybe the little box that I have here. What else you want to know about this guitar is that it comes with a newly designed SKB hard shell case, which is pretty cool. I have another American that's a Telecaster, but it's in one of the cases, one of the same kind of cases that this comes with. And so overall, I think, did I miss anything on this thing? You want to know that there is a little gap over here, so this won't sit flush, and you'll see when you make the micro tilt adjustment that will either widen or narrow, and that's good, so you could get that action down the same way you like it. I like mine a little bit high, not too high, but just a little bit higher than most people like their Strats to play kind of like butter, and I like my Telecasters like that, but I use higher gauge strings. They're 10s, they're not 9s, so I like the action a little higher to avoid buzzing and to avoid stuff fretting out when you play like up here, you know. Is there anything else? It's a 2-piece Alder body, from what I can tell. The screw's a little loose down here. You gotta tighten this stuff up sometimes, you know. Nobody's perfect, but overall they're really good guitars, these American standard Stratocasters. I love mine. I like the 3-tone sunburst finish. I like the green on the guitar also. It's very nice. And I like the kind of finish that's on here too, you know. I like that it's thinner. It's not the same kind of old thick finish that they had on here. It's a gloss urethane kind of, I think. It's really thin. You can feel it, you know, that you're almost touching wood when you're on here. It's not like when you play the older ones. I have some older Strats, especially ones that are covered like candy apple red, and you can feel how thick. I even have some of the paint peeling off them. You get some thick paint on there. I mean, whew, it's as thick as a business card, a layer of paint that you get on there, which sometimes is a good thing, sometimes is a bad thing in terms of tone. When you want the guitar to resonate a lot, if you're picking a lot and you're bending and you're trying to squeeze out that little extra second there, you want the wood to resonate as much as you can. And the newly redesigned American Standard Stratocaster, I got a great deal on mine. Paid $675, practically a brand new. Some guy in Manhattan bought it for his kid. I don't know why someone would buy their kid a $1,200 guitar, but he said he bought it for his kid, and his kid never got around to playing it, so he was looking to sell it because he couldn't return it. And he had it listed up for like $750. When I got there, I was able to haggle him down to $675. So those are some of the details of the 2012 and newer American Standard Stratocaster. Pick yours up today. Look at the used section of eBay, Guitar Center, even Musician's Friend, and you can find someone who picked these up and got rid of it, and you can pick one up for $700 usually around. If you're looking to get it with the case, it's usually around $800 you could find a used one for. So don't buy it new, because $1,200 is a lot of money. These things just keep going up. I remember when they were $800 brand new in American Standard Stratocaster. It wasn't too long ago either. So, not even 15 years ago, just when I was a kid, you'd be able to pick one up for $800 brand new off the showroom floor. And now they cost $1,200. The Sienna Sunburst cost nearly $1,400, and with the taxes and the fees that are added on today, forget it. You're lucky if you're not paying another 15% on top of that, plus shipping, because so many times you need these things shipped. So the guitar comes set up like shit from Fender. That's something I was worried about. You know, I don't know if it's because the guy had it in the case or whatnot for a while, but it was not set up good. I got the action, as you can see, a little high here, and not to everybody's liking, but it's good when you play these poly webs that I play. It still plays like butter, even though the strings are a little high, because a lot of you will feel if you rub up your low E string here, you'll actually feel the string, and you'll feel the wounding on the string. You don't feel that with the poly. It feels completely smooth all up, so it's easier to play, even though it may feel and it may seem a little weird to have the action that high. And a way to adjust your action is through the bridge block by loosening these screws. If you bring the tremolo up a little bit, the block up, you loosen those two screws that attach the springs of the bridge block to the wood of the guitar in the cavity that you have back here. When you take off this back plate, this will come up, and that will allow you to bring these down a little bit. And so I tighten mine down a little bit, not too much, but I don't want it to be a problem or get in the way, because if you have them down like this, mine is not exactly hardtailed. You'd have to hardtail it. You could put 5 screws in there. That will block off the tremolo from being used completely. I just got 3, and I got it a little bit tight just to pull it down so that it's flush and that it resonates properly on the guitar. That's one thing you get with the free floating 2-point tremolo, is that the guitar likes to go out of tune a lot if you don't have this set up properly. So that's something that everyone needs to do. I like the nut on this guitar. I do like the tuners. It stays in tune pretty well. It's a nice piece of wood for $1,200, you know. So the difference between these and if you pick up a Squire or a Mexican or anything like that, you can feel it right away. Just the finish on the neck is so consistent. The frets are very smooth. Everything is perfectly level. I had to adjust the neck when I got it, but that's probably because the action was so damn low and it was buzzing up here. Now you still buzzes a little, but if I just play it like that, and I hit it hard, so it's not buzzing at all. You don't get too much buzzing on there, so I like it. Be careful for these, yes, the strap buttons, they make problems. And that's about all, folks. So it's 2013 USA Standard Stratocaster. Pick yours up today at your local guitar place, but just make sure you set it up properly before you play it. If you're buying it at a store, make sure they set it up for you properly before you play it. Cheers.